Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Carol.
Okay, so for roll call, why don't I just call out who's on, and so that we know we've got Amy Hawansky, Amanda Matuzik, Paul Sebasta, and myself, and Laura Robertson is on, and then Linda is also on. So the first thing is the approval of the minutes from last month that Laura sent out earlier today. Does anybody have any comments? Okay, it looks like Amy does.
Yeah. I have some changes. Page 2, line 56. The new ones are suffering from the mild, I think that's supposed to be drought, DROUGHT.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And directly below it, line 58, the advisory council is going to create meadows on some of our town land that are now mowed. So land that is or lands that are.
Oh, okay. Yeah, make that match.
Oh, and while you're there, let me just jump in, Amy. On line 56, I was going to suggest that we say the 3 Dawn Redwoods did not survive. Didn't we have?
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, then page 3, line 99, the highway department, I believe it should be wants to hear reports of all trees that are dying.
Okay.
That's all for me.
Okay, and I just had one to kind of close out the issue on line 88 with the native tree clause that Paul, you had brought up last time. I believe what you were looking at was a draft one, and I can send out the final one. I tried to, but it got kicked back. So Laura, I don't know if you can send it out to, or I can send it out to members. Paul, I just need your updated email. But in the final one, we don't talk about native trees, Paul.
I appreciate that because there are a lot of trees that would be overlooked.
Okay, so if you can just email me your address, I'll send it out to everybody so everybody can see the final shade structure policy. Okay?
Okay, sure. Thanks.
Yep. And with that, do we want to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from last month? Looks like Amy's raising her hand. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Amanda seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and raised hand. Okay. Privilege of the floor, Laura. We don't have anyone, right?
I didn't get any emails from anybody.
Okay. So new business and action items.
Carol, I have a question. Do we do old business? I don't see a line for old business on here, and I just had a couple of questions of things we had touched on before.
Would that fall?
It's fine.
Yeah, we can do it under action items. So from the old business.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So at one point, Laura sent us an email for 2 addresses where the residents wanted us to go and look, and I think the highway department wanted us to go and look at the trees.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not been over there. Usually I can follow up rather quickly. I have not been over there. I was wondering if anyone else had and what the status of those were. Do we still need to go over and look at them?
Yeah, you don't need to go. A couple of tree council members were able to get out there. One tree was a little bit too dangerous to stay, and we recommended that one go down. And the other one, I sent an email to the homeowner saying it's fine. And the highway department really just needed that. I mean, like, I think we were saying if we took that tree down based on the condition that tree was in, that you'd have to take every single silver maple down on that street. Like, there wasn't anything that was distinguishing it from the other ones.
Okay, thank you about that. And let me check mark that. Then we had brought up that there is two dead trees at Blatnick Park. Excuse me, River Road Park,
Yes.
because we had planted two or three Shiloh splashes. I think we planted 3 Shiloh splash river birch over there.
Yes.
And it looks like
Yep.
2 have died and 1 is alive. And
Yes.
I'm pretty sure we got those at Fadigan's, and that carries a 1-year guarantee. So we want to take advantage of that before we lose that. And as a full disclaimer, I now work at Fadigan's, but I did not at the time when we purchased that.
Okay.
And then also, I mentioned before that there was a couple of birches in that cluster, kind of in that triangle at Route 7 in Rosendale. And I was wondering if the highway department or whomever is supposed to, I think that's state, county, town kind of area.
Yeah.
And you had said you kind of knew a little bit more about that.
Well, I thought that the highway department was responsible for them, but I reached out to see if they could take them down, and they said they are not responsible. They don't maintain those islands. It's the state. And they had a contact, and they said they would pass on that information to the state for me.
Okay, thank you, because they're getting worse every day, and it's just going to progress to all of those birches.
Yeah, I said that to him.
Thank you. Is there an update? Last time at the beginning of the meeting, y'all were talking about on Mohawk, how there's going to be a new water line put in. And so it made us have to cut down some trees. Is there progress, or is there a plan for figuring out what tree types could go there and or the locations?
You don't have an update on that. They're still working on the water line. I think that came about because they had to end up moving where the water line was going to go and take those trees down before they put the water line in.
Okay.
But I think like right now they're kind of like in full construction mode. So we probably won't get reached out to again until after.
Okay.
Nothing's changed since the last time we talked about that.
No, but the trees are down.
Yeah, they had to take them down before they started the line. So that was like kind of like what they wanted to be able to say to the residents is like, yeah, we know that these trees are coming down and you don't want that, but we'll do what we can with a tree council and a replanting plan. But yeah, I haven't heard any more on that since.
Okay, copy, thank you. And the last question is, any update with the highway department on the Blatnick Park sign planting to figure out what they're going to handle and what we're going to handle, and kind of what are we allowed to do? What do they want to do? What's our budget? What's our plan on that?
Yeah, that's actually what I had under the fall plantings there.
Okay.
So I talked
Great.
about that there. Yeah.
Okay, terrific. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Amy. So then I think we can move right on to the discussion items. The first is the Vincenzo subdivision tree plan.
Yeah. The letter isn't fully done, and I actually still need to go back to our notes from when we walked that. So that's just like a template. But I mean, I was wondering if you guys, if you like the general paragraphs and the idea of it, then I can swap in all of the species that I actually wrote down from our site walk because that's not what's in there, and then send it out.
And that's the letter that you included in our packet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that was for this one. Okay.
I have 2 typo comments on that. So in the third line, it says a good number of oaks, white pines, and maples. So I'm a stickler for the Oxford comma. Oaks, white pines, comma, and maples. Now, a lot of times when we're using common names, we don't capitalize it. So that's just a style choice. Sometimes people do to kind of make it stand out more visually. So that's your choice, what you want to do about that.
Okay.
And in the 4th paragraph at the beginning, if you not sure, I think you mean if you are not sure.
Yeah. Definitely.
I'm glad that you're putting yourself, Laura, as the contact person. So
That's really, I mean, I'm the secretary, so that's what it does. It's supposed to be.
great.
Yeah, this looks good.
Okay, so If you guys are fine with that, I will just make a couple of tweaks to it and then send it to you, Carol. I'm wondering if you can just scan one with your signature, and then I'll just print them, if that's okay.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
And so you're saying we'll include trees, but it may not necessarily be these trees?
Right. I think that's the majority of them, but I didn't have my notes in front of me because sometimes I'm working from home and sometimes I'm working at my work. And when I was doing that letter, I clearly had the notes from the tree council meeting here at home. So I just plunked in some things there that I could remember. But I'm going to make sure that I have the list covered because we went over what we wanted there. So it'll reflect what our notes are from that site visit. That took us quite a while. And it was funny because I told you guys that I did see the developer when I was there, and I was waiting for, I think, well, because little did I know, and Andrea and Amy discovered this, there are 2 Antonia drives. So, and the developer did notice us there. He did. So that was pretty funny. But that was a lot of work. So I just want to make sure that that is reflected with what we did on that site walk. And we met a neighbor, which was nice, and got some information on the area. So,
yeah.
Okay.
I have one comment. I think we are using ginkgo, right? I think we did talk about that.
Yeah.
So I have one comment on the ginkgo, and I like all the information, from that's cut and pasted from this. The one thing that I think I would erase, and I don't know if you can cut and paste and do that on the computer to erase it, is that picture of the fruit, because we know we're only going to plant male, so there will be no fruit. And I think if people see fruit, they're thinking, oh, that's going to be falling, and I don't want that mess, falling on my property. So it's not going to be there, and we could just erase that whole picture.
Are you doing this in here?
Yeah, and yep, we can definitely do that. And we can even add the word like male on the top. Oh, it says male varieties only. It says male varieties only on the top.
But people wouldn't know that the male varieties are the, don't have the fruit. Yeah, I think it would be better just to take it off. So.
And the American elm that you have, was that going to be one of them, the special ones that you and Paul are trying to get?
Well, the developer's paying for these ones, so I mean, it doesn't have to order it from the same place that we got it from. Yeah, so let's see. We have sweet gum. This is the notes from our meeting. We had Coosa dogwood serviceberry, so I have to add the Coosa dogwood in there. Rao can actually take oak, so I could add an oak in there. And we thought for Antonia, sweet gum, tupelo, and spruce, and maybe some firs. And then all the trees can take sourwood, hackberries, tulip trees, and ginkgos. So that is a slightly different list than we had.
Okay.
Okay, so we're all good with this?
Yes.
Do we have to do a formal vote on the, or was that?
I don't think so. I think as long as there's consensus.
Okay.
Sort of just a.
Okay. Good. So Laura, when you send that to me, I'll sign it and send it right back.
Okay, perfect. And then we'll just make the copies and mail them to everybody. Linda can help me with the who's on the street.
Okay.
Okay.
So it looks like next are fall projects, the replacement plantings, and the Blatnick Park sign.
Yeah. So I had really good conversation with the highway department. They are probably not going to plant a whole heck of a lot of street trees in the fall. It was one of the things that they were able to do during COVID. And so I think I told you guys before, they planted something like 40, and it was a good diversity of like black gums and tupelos and things that I'm glad to see them planting. But they're behind on things that they couldn't do. So they were able to do the street tree planting in the spring in sort of lieu of what they would often do in the spring. And so now they're quite behind. And so they don't really expect to be able to do a lot of street tree planting in the fall. But I was like, well, we still have a budget and we have some dead trees. And I mentioned the ones in River Road and the ones in Blatnick Park. And I was like, I mean, you don't even have to do utility locates. Like, these are small dead trees that you're really just pulling one tree ball out and putting another one in. And he thought that was something that would be a really good compromise. And so if he was able to put, people out and do that as fill-in work here and there, that would be a lot less of a burden on them. And I do think that there's actually not a fair number, but I do think that there's also even a couple still small dead trees, street trees out there, like in Old Niskuna and a couple places. So what I'm thinking is and this is what he asked us to do, if we can make a list of all the dead trees in parks first, and then in street trees, if we see them or know of them, then that's what they're going to focus on. They'll focus on pulling out the dead small ones and replacing them. And so that's kind of nice because a lot, it's unfortunate that we lost the Dawn Redwoods, but he's essentially saying, yeah, they'll buy some new ones, put them in. The weather should be cooler, give them a lot more chance to establish. And we're still working on a watering program. I did not mention to him the warranty from Vatican's, but I will try and work on that early next week, Amy. But so the plan is, let's make a list of all of the dead trees that we know of in the parks when we're walking on them or along the roads that are small, and see if we can get some replacements of those.
Laura?
Yeah.
Don't forget about the 20 bare root elms.
So that's the next thing. That's the next thing. And then if you guys have any questions about that, so just email me anything that you see, and I'll start compiling a list. And I'll try and take a look at some of the parks and stuff that I know of. Wow.
And so, Amy, as the tree planting subcommittee, could you kind of take the lead on the parks, but we'll also walk them, but just from a responsibility standpoint,
Sure.
if the tree planting subcommittee could kind of take the lead on identifying dead trees in the parks. So
Sure.
and on
There's
street.
definitely a couple of them in Blatnick. Like we noted some that they took care of when we did that initial planting this spring-ish summer, but there's, I think, more in Blatnick Park and stuff. So maybe I could commit to walking the grounds of Blatnick Park and finding all the dead trees because it's pretty close to me for lunch. I could try to do that. Somebody else wants to take some of the other areas.
Okay, I'll take River Road Park, that's for sure.
Okay. Right.
Did we still have one little dead one on Ray and Cornelius when we were working on that section?
So that was another thing that I was thinking, because definitely on Ray, right? I'm not sure that they went down and plucked those dead trees. I would like to, if somebody could, I could try too, but if somebody could get down to Ray and Cornelius,
I'll take that one.
Yeah, and then just check that area. But I'm not sure. I have a feeling that there might still be that little dead one on the corner of Ray and Balltown. We're not super great about going back and getting the little dead ones. So this is a good time. This is a good opportunity to clean up some of the little hangnails out there.
Okay.
Any other parks we should be looking at besides Blatnick and River Road, or those? Avon Crest.
I don't know Avon Crest very well. Does anybody live down there? I don't know that park very well at all.
Put a question mark. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't either. So.
Anywhere that you can see, but I don't know, because we have focused on River and Blatnick.
Yeah.
What about that strip on oh goodness, Lexington? Wasn't there one or two that they still had to take out on Lexington?
Yes, I think we should check. So I can go check Zenner. I think the last time I was up at Zenner, though, it was in pretty good shape. But I think we should check Lexington, and actually, beyond our initial planting, there are, I think, at least one small dead one when you're almost to the city of Schenectady line.
Okay.
Lexington's bending. I think I remember, because I walked that a couple times, seeing dead tree there. I might be able to I can actually walk almost the entirety of Lexington at my lunch if I go really fast from Town Hall. I've done it. So,
Avon Crest, I believe, is in need of trees, but it's kind of one of those neighborhood parks like Dean Street where residents sometimes try to kick you off, and it's kind of weird I don't know if it's appropriate for us to put trees in there.
So I don't go to Avon Crest Park a lot, but it is not a park district. So if residents are trying to kick people out of Avon Crest Park, it's not.
I thought it was.
No, they're not allowed to do that. I'm sure. I've been doing a lot of research on the
if it's not, there are, it's surrounded by trees. There's a good amount of trees on the periphery, but around the pavilion and the playground equipment, it's pretty wide open. It could use trees.
I feel like maybe I should just get my butt down there. I'm not even sure that I've ever been there.
I went there
It's wide
once
open.
in March. That was it.
Did you?
Yeah.
To just check it out. I remember driving by and being like, oh, there's a playground. I could bring Lily, but I have not ever actually brought her there. So maybe we could go explore it a
Mhm.
little.
Yeah, definitely. It could use some trees.
So, so that'll segue into our elm conversation.
Sure.
But, so anything you see, just email me and we'll start a list.
Yep.
And then as far as the Blatnick Park sign goes, he's still very committed to helping us with that. But his timeline for starting that project would be if we can aim for the like mid to end October. I said, I think that's fine. That's good time for planting, you know, and like we wanted to add perennials and things like that. So he's very open. He just, maybe like, you know, in September, we can take another field trip out there, look at it, get an idea of what we want and send it to him like in early October. And he can be like, yeah, that's doable. You know, then we can go around and see what's, you know, available and stuff. But he probably would give us a crew like mid to end of October.
So, yeah, so I think the earlier that we kind of give suggestions as to what we want, the better. Then they could kind of plan for that. I think I'm hoping they would take our suggestions.
I think they will. I think he's very open to it. I told him that we probably, because he thought that we wanted to take the cedars down, and I said we probably just want them cleaned up. He's fine with that. He's fine with moving the sign forward. He's fine with perennials.
So Amy, you have an interest in that. Could you take the lead on that?
Sure.
Okay.
And when he moves the sign forward, is he able to, or are we able to improve that sign? It needs new posts and it's all rickety and needs painting and.
He was like, we'll repaint it. And I was like, okay, if you.
The sign has met its useful life. We need a new sign.
You need a new
Yeah,
sign.
I agree with that.
It's an absolute disgrace.
I agree.
I torch it.
I mentioned it a couple
It wasn't
times.
really that nice when it was made. It was kind of a low budget sign. I think it's very disrespectful to Jeff Blatnick.
So I'll bring it up again.
Yeah.
I think that the truth of it would come when they went to paint it. I don't think they like literally would be able to put it back up. I think the whole thing's going to disintegrate when they take it down, and it'll be what it'll be. But
It's hideous.
I can mention that to them again.
Okay.
They're hoping to just be able to paint it, but that thing it's so far gone. But I think once we start making it look better, we'll be like, yeah, maybe they can.
Now
Nothing would look better.
We may end up having to do this in stages because by the time we get to end October, our choices of and options of actually getting perennials is going to be really low. So
Yeah, we can leave
Yeah.
spaces and do some in the spring.
right. So if we kind of like do the design, get the area laid out, maybe put in some trees or large shrubs, that might be as much as we can get done in the fall, and then have to wait till the spring to add the smaller plants if we choose to have smaller plants in the design.
But we can. I mean, the black-eyed Susan, everything's done. But you can get the bases of the black-eyed Susans and stuff like that if you want to add those in there.
Uh-huh.
A lot of times in the fall, I'm able to find a lot of times like black-eyed Susans on clearance in the fall,
Mm-hmm.
and they're very strong and healthy the next year.
Okay.
Well, good. I think that'll be great if we could get a new sign and improve the
Yeah.
landscaping around it.
So I'll
Yeah.
keep mentioning it. And then I don't know, Amy, if you just want to like send out a couple of dates that work for you, I will meet you out there. And then anybody else who wants to go out there, you know, and I can bring some blank pieces of paper and we can just sketch out. I love sketching out, like, you know, we can just, all right, we're gonna move the sign like 20 feet forward. You just sort of put it on the hill, you know, prune, you know, just do a list of things that we're thinking, add a couple of evergreens, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Can
Yeah.
you send it out to the council? And so if other people are available.
Yeah. So, because like Andrea, I think likes to go to those
Yeah.
too.
Sure.
Okay. So moving on, the elm trees.
Elm trees. So I got a hold of a lovely lady at the Liberty Everybody.
Yeah, we saw that email.
Yeah.
We'll
And
catch-
was able to find all 3 POs. And so I actually have not told Ray this yet. Paul probably knows this, but we actually have 71 elms coming. So we have
Wow.
20
Wow.
coming this year, 21 coming next year, and 31 coming in 2022.
Yeah, this program is, it's there's a big lead time, so I did know that, and that's the way it works. It's the pay to grow or whatever they call it, and yeah, we're set for several years, but you got to keep, every year you have to contribute to have them 2 years down the road.
Yeah. So what I was thinking is, we have talked about that line of Liberty Elms at Blatnick Park, and maybe we could do this the same day that we go out to look at the sign. I'd really like to actually field measure how many we can fit there, so that we can see if it's going to be 20 or 40, how many trees are going to fit there, within the planting space that is recommended. It's probably, like, I can double check. It's probably, 10, 12 feet apart or whatever it's supposed to be. And then,
What?
or 20, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's
30.
I'm putting trees really close together.
What?
Laura,
Okay, but we were gonna stagger them like in a zigzag, so that it's sort of like, remember, it's gonna sort of be like, it's not just a single line. It'll be like
all
an
right,
oval.
well,
Double
get them a
row.
little closer.
Yeah.
That buys you a little bit, not 10 feet.
Yeah. And so, like, we can just bring a measurement thingy out and literally just, kind of tag team each other, so we can really get a sense of how many we can fit there. Because I think that's where we should plant this fall. And I want to know, like, if we can fit all 20 there, if 20 is going to, fill that whole space, or if 20 is going to be like half that space, so we can plan the 21 and the 21 that are coming in 21 to also go there. Like, I just want to get a sense of how many trees can go there. And then after we get a sense of how many trees can go there, I think it's going to be important to find another place in one of the town parks or elsewhere where we can put another line like this. And so maybe Avon Crest is a really good candidate, so that we can kind of generally know, because I know that you had said, Paul, that we were doing this, but I didn't realize it was this many trees. So I just kind of want to get a sense of where we're going to put them.
Yeah, well, don't forget, these do not all survive, so you're going to have to replant,
Oh,
the
okay.
bare root. So, I'd plan on, 20% at least, not making it.
Okay, but our other bare roots that we planted, I don't think we lost a single one of them. When we got them from Schechtel?
Depends who plants them.
Yeah, well, that was Highway.
Well,
And
well,
they-
also, I got thinking, at the research center, there used to be a whole row of elms before they remodeled a number of years ago. And they were mature elms that were there for, number of years. I'm going to see if we can't get like an old footage and count how many trees lined that main roadway, which would give us an idea, because that was just beautiful. And a lot of people really had an issue with it when they had to take them down. And if we could kind of recreate that somewhere, it would be wonderful. So,
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea, too. So I think it's totally awesome. We have that many trees, and it gives us an opportunity to create lines like that. So when we're doing the Blatnick Park thing, I want to stake out how many trees are going to fit there. And then maybe when you guys are going around looking for, little babies that are dead in some of the other parks, if you see like a crest like that, or like a road or an entranceway, Carol, like you're talking about, that, let's look at that, because if we can start creating those majestic kind of entrances, that's really what some purchase like this is meant for, I think. Would be cool.
Yes.
Okay, good. Anything else on the elm trees?
Nope, that's all I have.
Okay, on to the reports. I'm sorry to say, public outreach, we really haven't done anything during the summer. So
That's fine. It's summertime. There's nothing for the street tree master plan either.
okay. I do know, like you had mentioned, that you want to do something in the fall. So I'll get the team together and we'll think about what we can do.
Like a fun email blast or a tree quiz or something. Just
exactly.
Yeah.
Just to have some public participation. So, okay. So that was short and sweet. um, so how about the tree inventory, tree master plan? Nothing there, did you say?
Yeah, nothing to report. We do need to get going on that. We still have the funds, but it's summer and everything else is going on. There's no progress right now.
Mm-hmm. So, and what about the tree planting then?
So after the last meeting, we went out to that subdivision area to figure out which types of trees, how many, and where they could be located as street trees. And Laura kept a list of our brainstorming, and that's what has resulted in the packet that she gave you today.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Great. And anything else, Amy, with the tree planting?
No.
Okay. Any other things we need to discuss then tonight?
Maybe just continued requests for some sort of watering truck or similar.
I'm bringing
because
it
I
up.
think
I brought
you.
it up at the highway meeting, and I got a little pushback. But I'm just doing it as gently and kindly as I can, and I'm actually asking for the tree council to have a budget during budget season. And two things I'm asking for is a mulch line and a watering tank line that we could put in the back of the pickup truck. So
Thank you.
even if it gets shut down, like at least we're discussing it at budget. And I'm not saying I'm trying to do these unfunded things and steal man hours. I'm trying to actually put a line in the tree thingy for mulch so that they're not stealing anything from anything. Like we all recognize that mulch is really going to help those trees. So from the tree council requesting, I've got you guys requesting mulch and a watering system.
Thank you. It really is a protection on our tree investment because with the mulch, not only are we retaining soil moisture, especially on these hot days, but we're keeping the weed whackers and the lawnmowers away from the base. And we've seen that a lot of the trees have damage from that.
Yeah.
And then obviously the watering truck is going to help us so much because, I mean, look at the weather that we've had this year, 90, 96 degrees. And it's hard to keep up with that, with the watering. And I think that some of the trees we've lost have been because they haven't been watered.
I agree. Yep. Go ahead,
there's
Paul.
there's no sense in enhancing or augmenting our tree budget if we're not going to, make an effort to allow them to survive by watering them and mulching them. I absolutely agree. I think any additional money would be best spent on ensuring the trees we're buying survival. And also I'd like to suggest to those, I like those white spiral wraps, even if they make them, they're like 18 inches tall, but even if you cut them in half and got 2 out of each one and just put them at the base for weed whacking, unless we can train these guys, they don't seem to learn though. I've seen it over and over. Just to leave them on, you know the type, I mean, Amy, that open up when the tree.
Yeah. They look like spirals.
I know there's sometimes an issue with insects and things that kind of live in that little habitat, but I don't know. I've used them successfully.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to add more budget for tree planting. One, if they don't have the time to plant the trees and we're not spending it, and two, if they're dying.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. We really want to hone in right now on mulch and watering.
But those little wrap things are cheap. They're plastic and they're reusable. You can take them off and get another tree or 2 out of them. Yes. I don't know if you're going to ever keep, once the mulch goes away, I don't think they're going to be mulching forever. So once the mulch goes away, you're going to be back to weed whackers right? They're not going to keep mulch on forever. This is just for the first few years and initial.
Yeah. I mean, I like mulch forever, but I think we talked about before.
That's not going to happen.
Right.
It's not going to happen, and that's fine. Once the trees get bigger, then it can go back to grass.
Right. So in a couple of years, the grass is going to grow in, and those protectors will still be good for, they're good for 5+ years. But I mean, they're cheap. I don't know what everyone else thinks. They don't look particularly nice, but it makes helps the tree live.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, so I'll add in tree wraps. We might just be able to, we talked about this before, we might be able to just buy those at the end of the year this year.
Yeah, they're cheap.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that would be good. If we could buy them, yeah.
If nothing else, it's just a visual reminder of not to,
Hurt them.
not to bear down on the bark.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm. Okay, anything else? This may
There
be
was
a sweet-
One other thing to follow up from last time that I forgot about was the cherries, weeping cherries in the triangle in front of CVS.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that in the minutes. I didn't follow up on the cherries, but I will try and follow up with that this month.
Thank you very much.
Sometimes when I read those in the minutes, I'm like, oh gosh, darn it.
Okay, then with that, I think we can adjourn. Paul, just make sure you send me your email address so I can get that, whatever that tree, the shade structure policy. I wanted to send you the final one along with the other team members.
Sure.
Okay, so with that, does somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I will.
Okay, and
Paul seconded.
okay, sounds good. And so all in favor of adjourning, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Well, I think this was one of our record fast meetings. So
Yeah.
Thanks
so everyone
for coming
enjoy
out
the
on a
rest of
Wednesday
August.
night. Yeah. I appreciate you guys taking the time.
Good night.
Good to see everybody.
And hopefully people, yes.
Stay safe,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye, guys.